What is going on, everybody? My name is Mr. Spade, and I am pleased to be able to bring to you a League of Legends introductory video on the Yeousch Alliance channel. Now, if you are unsure about what League of Legends is, let me wrap it up all into a nutshell as simply as I can. So basically, what you do is you choose a champion that has unique abilities separate from every other champion that you can play as in the game. Use this champion to play in a 5v5 match against other champions. You use them to push lanes, destroy turrets, destroy minions, kill other champions in order to push the Nexus to destroy it and win. That's League of Legends all wrapped up in a tight little bun. However, the game is a lot more complex than that, and I'll get into the nitty-gritty details of that later on. But first, let's download the game, shall we? You're going to first come to this page when you want to download the game. It's called League of Legends Download. The link will be in the description for you to check out. You click this big red button here and it'll download the game for you. Now, since I already have the game downloaded, I'm not going to do it again, so we're going to open up this, hit the play button, and wait for the title screen to load. So title screen is where you're going to enter your username, password. If you do not have an account, you are going to hit this button here. Do not have an account? Sign up now! As in, it's the most important thing ever, because it has an exclamation mark, of course. It's going to take you to this page right here. You're going to put in your username that you want to have, password, email address, so all the stuff that League of Legends will need in order to process your account and create your account in order for you to play this fantastic game. So, this game is 100% free. It takes a long time to download it, but it's definitely worth it. Let's sign in now that we have all that username stuff set up. Take a minute to load in. When you first log into League of Legends, you will be asked two things, actually three things. The first thing is your summoner name. It's going to ask you, what do you want your summoner name to be? Your summoner name is the thing that will show other players what your name is in game. It doesn't have to correspond with your account name, however. Your account name you only use to get into your account. Your summoner name is what displays in game. You can change this later, but it does cost a little bit of money. Real money, not fake money. Just keep that in mind. So choose your summoner name wisely, people. Next thing it's going to ask you is to choose your emblem. Your emblem is this thing right at the top right hand corner right here. You can change this at any time, so don't fret too much about what your emblem is right off the bat. Third thing it's going to ask you is, do you want to play this tutorial, the starter tutorial, and the more complicated tutorial? You can say yes to them. Go play those. It'll help you learn a little bit more about League of Legends, but if you don't want to play those, that's fine. You can hop into a match. Trust me, there will be other guys who have never played the game if you play with if you hop into a match right away. What League of Legends does is it averages the level of the party you are playing with and tries to find people around the same level. So you're not playing with people who are crazy, over-leveled, higher leveled than you. You're playing with people around your level. So now that we've downloaded the game, it got this title screen all set up, I'm going to warp out into an actual gameplay of me playing against some AI bots so I can clearly explain to you the rules and how you play League of Legends the best way you can. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more complex stuff that you're going to learn later on as you keep playing, but this is just going to be the basics. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and I will see you in a minute. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is when you get into the game, you're going to want to make sure that your video settings are accurate to what your computer can handle. If you have a crappy computer, go with 30 frames per second. If you have a pretty good computer, go with 60 frames per second. Next thing you want to look at is the store. The store is your in-game store that you can use gold to buy items to make your champion do much better in-game. Give him different attributes to make him play a lot better against other champions. You can access this store by hitting that little gold button in the bottom left-hand corner, and here are your items that you can choose from: defense, attack, magic, movement, and consumables. I would suggest sticking with the recommended items for now, but you can look up builds online to increase your champion's abilities throughout the game. Next thing you are going to want to do after choosing your item, you are going to have to choose a lane. There's top lane, middle lane, bottom lane. Now for the more advanced players, they will know this, but there's usually 2 top lane, 2 bottom lane, and 1 person in the middle. I choose to go top lane in this game. However, it may not be the best choice for someone like Fiddlesticks, which is the character I am playing as now. The most important thing in League of Legends is your heads-up display or your HUD. First thing you're going to want to look at is those buttons down there in the bottom right hand corner. You have your camera setting. Now you can leave this on locked, which means you stay centered on your champion the entire time, or you can leave it on free roam, which means you can move around the map a bit more. Next button over is your tab button. This shows you your different leaderboards. You can hit this by hitting that button or the tab. Next button over is the in-game menu settings and stuff, and then finally your champion info. You can grab this by hitting that little helmet in the bottom right hand corner or hitting your character icon like I am doing now. You can see tips, you can see the background or the lore, and you can see some of the stats of the champion. Some of these stats can also be seen on the left hand side. Now, when looking at different skill selection, you have a few different skills. You have your Q, your W, and your E. These can be all maxed to level 5. Your ultimate, which is your R, can be maxed to level 3. Your passive on the left-hand side, which every champion has. And then your 2 summoner spells, D and F. You have your B, your recall button, which you can use to go back to your base without having to walk all that way. That would be very pesky and annoying if you had to end up walking all that way. Your health and your mana are right below these skills, and I believe that is it for your heads-up display. Now, one last thing about summoner spells. There is a cooldown for every single spell you use, which means you have to wait a certain amount of time in order for you to be able to use that spell once again. So make sure you don't just spam your spells. Also, when I say Q, W, E, and R, those are the buttons that you end up hitting on your keyboard to activate those spells. So make sure you remember those. There are 3 main stages to League of Legends. The first one is the early game lane, which I'm doing a completely awesome job at doing right now. I'm completely destroying these AI bots. They have no idea what's going to hit them later on. This is the most important part of the game as it sets off the entire tone for your game. The second part is the mid game, followed by the late game, the final part where you completely finish off the enemy team and destroy them as much as possible. There are 3 objectives to the early game. The first one is to get rid of the enemy champions, push them back, like what I'm doing right now. Fantastic job, Mr. Spade, at taking down that anti-bot. You did a fantastic job. You destroyed him with that drain. You chased him down, got that last couple hits from that minion, and ended up taking the kill. Very nicely done. That's the first objective, to push the enemies out of your lane and to try and get complete lane dominance. That's what we call it in League of Legends. We call it lane dominance. When there's no one else in the lane except for you and your team, the enemies have completely backed off. They have either gone to recall, to heal up, or they have been destroyed. They have been dominated on. They have been pooped on, as we say it. So then the next objective is killing minions and trying to get your gold up. Now, in order to kill minions, you have to do the last hit on a minion. This will end up giving you an increased gold boost. However, if you do not last hit the minion and they just die around you, you will still get the experience bonus even though you didn't do the last hit to them. Now, some of you may be a bit confused, so let me clarify. The minions are the little creeps that you see walking around my feet. They are mindlessly controlled by the CPU, so don't get your feelings too hurt if you end up killing a bunch of minions. They will not mind whatsoever. They always push a lane, and they're pretty damn stupid if I say so myself. But let's face it, they're only there so we can get more gold and experience. The final objective of early game laning is to make sure you try and push the enemy turret and stop them from pushing your turret. The turret will always attack the first object that comes into its range. However, if you are not the first object that comes into its range, but there is another champion there, and you start attacking that enemy champion, then the turret will start to focus on you. So make sure that if you are attacking a turret and you're going to attack a champion that's below a turret, that you have enough health to sustain the turret hits. The turret hurts a lot. Turret hurt, turret hurt. Trust me, it does. It hurts a lot. It can kill you very easily. So make sure that you have either minions there to support you or you have enough health to tank it yourself. The middle game laning is very simple. What you have to do is you have to try and gank enemies or flanking them. Ganking is the term that is officially used by League of Legends players. Try and gank enemies, try and kill them. Do stuff that'll make your gold go up. Gold can go up by killing champions, destroying turrets, and last hitting minions, which I explained in the early game lane. If you are successful, you can end up getting enough gold to buy better items in the store to increase your champion's abilities. As you can see right here, I buy the Ramadan's Death Cap, which is one of the most beastly items in the game for me to buy for this specific champion. The late game is very complex, but I'm not going to get into all the different complexities now. First thing you're going to want to do, though, however, is try and kill Baron Nashor, a neutral monster that deals out a ton of damage to everyone. So, some advice. If you are going to take on Baron Nashor, make sure that you have enough health to take him, because he does a lot of damage. As you can see right now, I keep having to use my lifesteal ability in order to take him. Once you kill this monster, he will give you a buff A buff, what it does is it increases your abilities or something along those lines. This buff in particular allows every champion on your team to have an increase in attack damage and ability power. One of the most useful buffs, actually the most useful buff in the game. So it's very important to have this once you get into the late game. If you have the Baron buff, you can end up pushing into the enemy base a lot easier. You have to destroy some outer turrets and something called an inhibitor. That's the thing that you see that's red right now in the bottom left hand corner of the screen. That's an inhibitor. That's a dead inhibitor, however. Once you've destroyed an inhibitor, it will spawn super minions. Super minions, what they do is they are absolutely ginormous. Look at that guy with the big 2 maces. That minion, that guy's huge. He's ginormous. You wouldn't want to face him, trust me. But anyways, they have a lot of health, they deal a lot of damage, and it makes it a lot easier to push into the enemy base. Now, once getting into the enemy base, you get to destroy 2 outer turrets right here. That's what these are called. I'm destroying them right now. Once those are dead, you can end up destroying the enemy nexus. The enemy nexus is what you see in the top right-hand corner right now, that big purple crystal ball. And once you destroy that, you win the game. That is right. You win the game if you destroy that, so focus on it as much as possible. As you can see right now, we have just destroyed the outer turrets. We're pushing onto the nexus. Are you ready for the ultimate destruction of the enemy team? Thank you to the Supermanians, to this Master Yi-Bot, and the ultimate, the beast, Mr. X Spade, or aka Fiddlesticks. So thank you for tuning in, guys, to the basics of League of Legends. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked this video, make sure you like and favorite the video and leave some feedback in the comment section below. And don't forget, subscribe to the Yeousch YouTube channels and check out my own channel, Mr. X Spade, at youtube.com. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.